3d6 down the line.
Okay, that is episode 91 in the books. Well done, guys. Into the funky
Not
house.
bad. Not bad.
It's a lot of exploration in that one, man.
It's fun. It's fun mapping a big area like that because it's so open.
Count as 5 rooms?
It's a good question.
I mean, I got 3 rooms.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so we got
and then
4
the other
at
ones are
least.
kind of like locations, right? Like I would think like the northern dock is one location, the southern dock is another location. Bagel Lake itself is
Bagel Lake.
Is an amazing location in and of itself.
It's keyed entries basically is the way that I use that for Feats of Exploration. So you likely hit it. I'll have to assess later, but
all right, Ted, you better label that thing Bagel Lake because that's
gotta be Bagel Lake
on it.
Bagel Lake.
So
it's got like the crab locks in the center.
So John, unless you're planning on offing a bunch of us, you better get ready because like you can already see that crazy shit's happening. We have so many crazy items. We have so many like crazy powers now.
Mm-hmm.
We've definitely hit those mid levels of D&D.
Yep, that is for sure. I have to be on my toes.
Well, I mean,
it is wild. Go ahead, Matt.
It's amazing. Like, you know, David, you do amazing things, and they're also amazingly risky. Like the zip line idea that you had was brilliant and lovely, and totally would have gotten you killed because as soon as you go down there and tie the other end of the rope around the mushroom, whomp, you know, something's going to come and
never know.
Chomp you and paralyze you, and we're half a mile away on the top of a zip line.
I love it. It's true. You just don't know. You know, and Ted's point too. Like you guys get a bunch of momentum and just break your legs at the bottom is a valid concern. You know, or any number of things. Introducing any sort of chance to an idea is something you don't think about. You know, without a group input. It is funny, but shit, y'all. The weather balloon thing is a lot of fun.
Pretty cool.
We didn't use it, but I keep forgetting about clairaudience. We should be using that. If we aren't per day, we should be using that when we're scouting any dangerous location that we can see, right? Because if I can see it, I can pop it off and see it. I can go, oh, that weird feature. Is Dano in there? Blah, 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 and go look, right? So it's something to keep in mind as a very valuable object, you know, until it sucks my brain.
And you can cast that on a person, right? Like you can either a location or a person.
Location or person.
Right. So that might be a good thing to cast on her.
Yeah.
To get a sense of what if she's looking around and seeing all mushrooms, that's probably valid to know.
Good idea. I could cast it on Dano right now. Now she might know. Oh. So yeah, there's
maybe not right now, but
yeah. But there's just a lot of tools. I mean, Mike, I totally forgot you had a fly shield.
Yeah.
And verticality is, I mean, there's not much to say that isn't obvious, but verticality is like fucking everything in D&D when it comes to dungeons. If you got a high enough ceiling, like I don't want to say people don't think about it enough because I'm sure people think about it, right? But like it feels like I forget to think about it enough because so much of what a design entails in a dungeon is what's on the floor, not on the ceiling. I am very curious, Mike, you brought this up. This could be a stretch, but when and if we have time, the first thought I had when we realized we already had like 3 layers of water was, is there anything coming down from the ceiling into the lake? Is there anything? It didn't seem like there was, but what's at the top above the lake? Are there ways, like you said at the very beginning, is there a tunnel to the surface that's just so far up that you have to fly to get there? But we don't see any light coming through is the thing. But
no,
I don't know, man.
Light, what I'm thinking is are these like rivers that run through all the cavern systems? Like if you had the right magical preparation, are they shortcuts to get from level to level?
Right. For example, there's a lot of water down where the giant turtle was that leads down. I mean, we know that the river from on top of the cliff feeds that river down, goes to Gosterwick. There's water under there, but it could be all just I mean, this is natural geography anyway, right? Like water erodes through and percolates through a stone system. So yeah, we could probably work our way from level to level by way of, super dolphin.
Well, and that's just it, right? Like we have a boat. Matt thought to bring the 6 Sense fish rod. Well, I don't know what it does. Let's say theoretically it's like a magical engine. And current has been a very specific note on every water item we've met, which implies, exactly what all of you are saying, which is I think it's a connective tissue. I immediately think of like Dolmen Wood, and right when we swam to the bottom and found a shortcut to a much deeper part of the cave. It's so hard to resist. Again, not to meta think it, but it's so hard to resist when you're designing something like this, both because of what organically happens in cavern systems and just because of the fun of designing those bequeathed things. That we got to check out what these rivers lead to. Absolutely.
I was just having a weird thought. We could totally wreck large parts of the dungeon with a simple like water breathing and stone shape spell. You could just be opening,
we have both of
channeling rivers into parts of the cavern that are dry, right? Like we could flood Monkey Town if we really wanted to.
We have the Siren Pearl, so we have watering breathing at will.
Yeah. You also have a druid who can just cast that on you.
Damming the water, like you said. I mean, exactly. You dam that river right now with stone shape. I mean, it's how could you do it without it flowing over? But like, what happens when the lake drains out? I mean,
What happens when the lake drains out? What happens when the water backs up into other parts of the cavern system? Like,
I would like to see all those monkeys drown. I think that sounds pretty good.
They're friends now. They're nice monkeys.
I will say that again, it's not useful to us in the immediate, but back to that 30 by 30 foot mass charm thing. The idea of like going to the where all the holes in that wall are with all the centipedes and just popping it off. I mean, like just mass charming a bunch of like, I don't know. It's just wild to think the power of an area of effect charm. Right. And what that really entails, not just in terms of warring, but navigation, man. Like,
right. Or going back to stone shape, you could just seal all those holes.
Take time, but exactly.
All right. We've already got the whole, metal wizard dolphin thing going on here. David, here's what you're going to do. You're going to mass charm 5 or 10 centipedes and have ropes from them up to you floating along, and they're just going to pull you around wherever you want to go. Centipede powered David Chariot balloon.
I mean, I'll say this. I've never wanted more to have a item that bequeaths speak with animals. You talk about a magical research item that Lisbeth could make. I mean, that is so. I mean, obviously Lisbeth can do these things, but having that be something we can transferable skills are so huge, man. It's the same thing I was talking about with maybe an identify item as an eventual goal, even though short term we just want the spell. Something that can transfer across our characters and through devs is huge. And exactly. Like being able to talk to that alligator would have been huge. Because
then it wouldn't eat us, and we could use it for like anything we wanted, right? Like it's.
Man! I mean, the possibilities are very exciting.
Matt, can you cast speak with animals on other characters?
No, I believe that's self. Look it up. But yeah, it's most of these druid things are selfie.
We need to make like a circlet that allows you to speak with animals. That would be so awesome.
The Doolittle device.
That's what we should call it.
Oh my God. I love it and hate it. It's so perfect.
And then, guys, we get to force John to role play as like kittens and monkeys and alligators. John, do an alligator voice. What does an alligator sound like?
I would love to do. I would do that any day of the week rather than have to run someone's fucking animal companion. Let's put it that way.
She's got that spell too, John. She's got that spell too. See, I know not to prep it, but you'll just kill her. Oh no! Look, she failed at that.
Chasm just collapsed.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, speak with animals is just caster only. The caster can communicate.
Yeah. I mean, we could just front load Lisbeth with the circlet and with the boots, and I mean, we could.
She does not need us already. Like she can already do this all by herself.
You give her the circlet and the boots, and she's gonna be like, "I'm out. Bye, guys. I'll see you in
It's like
Gaster."
we went to a TGI Fridays, and we're like, you know what? You are one of the best, servers in here. Come with us. In a month, you're going to be a god.
It's true, man. It's true.
The only person she respects is Mort.
I know. I'll say this, Mike, and don't get your heckles up too much. I know you're very sensitive about how you roll a mage yourself, but do you feel that, Fireball would have been the choice for most of our encounters in the game? Or might you say that all of these seemingly useless Dungeoneering spells have proven exponentially more powerful in any interaction that we've had? Would you say that, Mike?
No, I wouldn't say that, David. I just say you're not applying Fireball correctly.
You mean killing all of your compatriots? Well, I could do that another one.
I would like to point out that my cleric is rocking like healing spells, like up and down my shit, right? Like I'm cure serious wounds, cure disease, cure light wounds. Like you're all going to be very happy with me at some point. So sometimes the classics are best.
I love it.
Interesting though that this is you guys will all have known this, and we are hitting that point now where Mort was, really useful at lower levels. He could see in the dark. He was pretty stealthy, had good saves. And every time we gain another level, Mort is just like, doo-dee-doo, I'm a goblin. And you're like, I command the skies and the seas and the very earth. And,
it gets to a bigger topic that we've talked about, which is maybe I don't know if we have time for it now necessarily, but yeah, I mean, it's even in the old school game, and it's very hard to want to run a fighter. No one wants to admit it, but when you get to like a more advanced progression that is attached to the type of character you're playing, I mean, magic items are a big and expressive and important thing in OSR, but you still have some of the very same dynamics showing up in OSR as people complain about in 5e. It's hard, man. And it doesn't mean there's a lot of fun stuff you can do, but I mean, it's hard to deny that like spell casting is wild, right? Like it's just very hard to deny.
I like it.
If you can survive that long.
I didn't have to worry about downtime though. Me and Barrios just played Mumbly-Peg the whole time while you guys were researching spells. Yeah. And
you could have been reading Mithric. You could have been learning Mithric, you lazy shit.
It takes 2 weeks. Uninterrupted study. Not doing it.
So I do think though, David, I don't know about that because I mean, all right, so look at like the item the flying shield, right? Like there are items in our party that if you kitted out a fighter would make him still exciting to play, like even at high levels or whatever. Plus, like you can't underscore the superpower that's armor class, and that's
true.
The best superpower in the game. So,
100%. I mean, again, we've talked about it on the Discord a good bit, but I love a fighter, right? My point is just that like the intrinsic extrinsic thing there is like the fighter has to go out in the dungeon and find all those items.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Without items, you're
that doesn't mean they can't be incredibly fun and expressive, but they got to go out and do it, which means they really work as purely OSR characters. What other option do they have? Right. I can run my mage. Similarly, I have to find spell scroll. So it's not like I can't, I can do anything right out the gate, but it is a little bit of a different thing with druids and clerics and things that have divine progression, right? Mm-hmm. It's just like a druid is so good. A cleric is so good, for that reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had the frustration of playing a wizard in OSE when we played Dolmenwood, and I was having a real hard time like finding scrolls to scribe into a spell book, right? So, I mean, it just depends on the campaign. The Arden is so rich with treasure and so many interesting items that I think it makes it more viable to do a non-spellcaster class or whatever. But that really depends on the campaign, right? Like it could be one DM versus another DM, and what kind of stuff they populate the dungeon with could make that whole thing like less viable. If you were not finding all these scrolls, you would be sad right now.
Well, and I got a great boon in that we bridged the various mage subclasses into one, right? So my access increased substantially, right, for that reason. My momentum and then our home brewing memorization as well, because it was hard to find time to do downtime. Just like Ted didn't want to do 2 weeks of Mythric, I was not bothering scribing new scrolls, right? So yeah, I mean, I guess lesson is be flexible, right? Like you said, it's up to the GM the table. Matt, you were going to say something though.
Yeah, and just think how long the drought we had for any clerical spells. It was basically Avaricius's whole dungeoneering experience. He never found anything, right? And it was all just
anything
like
turning left
turning left versus turning right. Right. Like that's all it was. These things were there the whole time, but every time we're just like, we gotta go this way. Okay, there's nothing.
All right. So what's our plan for next time, guys? Are we like, what do we think these are? Are these fortresses on the south side of the lake?
Well, one of them is the Promontory, which has probably got the tomb of was it Restus? Tarmus. Yeah, the tomb of Tarmus, which I totally think we should check out. The other one is probably some sort of ramp up to another level or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we should go up or a way out. It might be the way to the the cliff, I think, is probably just further south. So I'm kind of keen on the tomb of Tarmus and the exit. Those would be my choices.
Now,
I would pitch find. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say, do you guys think that we should explore those on the way to try to finding the exit or on the way back?
Oh, I think we should go now.
You want to go into the... I mean, my pitch is, and this is coming from Get Us All Killed McGee, but in my perception, one of the biggest death spiral aspects of both Plunger Town and the Cult of Arden level was not knowing our exits and not being able to easily retrace where we came from. So I'm of the mind that we find the exit and then do the tomb. And because we have the ability to move as fast as we are in our current methodology, I don't think that is a long-term goal. But I think if we immediately go to the tomb and stir up Dano and all of the LLRC, and they go, you took our boat. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Or they flee and they take the boats. Then we're up shit creek, literally. Donut Creek, I should say. And we have to find the exit, but we have to find it in a more pressured scenario, right? That's my only thought. But I'm down to do anything, ultimately. It'll be fun.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Although, cover your 6, don't pass something that could be dangerous without knowing if it is or not.
Right.
That's right.
David's. That's a solid point, David. Absolutely.
Well, it's part of the reason I don't want to create an adversarial. I'm curious what you guys think about this too. I don't want to create an adversarial relationship with whoever used those boats necessarily, but there's a part of me that's like
to sink them.
Well, that's right. No, this is what I'm getting at. There's part of me that's like, well, this is my point though. There's part of me that is like, if we do have to beat an escape, them not being able to follow us is useful. So scuttling them or just floating them out into the water so they have to swim to get to them gives us a point of delay. Right.
Yeah.
That's an anxiety I have. Again, covering your 6. If we go through, they watch us pass, we don't notice them, and they go, and they set an ambush and take the boats. You know what I mean? Like, again, it's like a...
Visually, we are still allies.
Yeah,
There's nothing that ties us to what happened, even though it is kind of our fault.
No.
Nobody knows that. Nobody cares. We're good guys. We're looking for survivors. Yeah, it's going to be fine. With all that, I still think that we should probably go south, find the exit, and then zigzag on our way back to figure out what we want to do.
That's fine. I'm down for either. Like I can see both ways. One thing to just kind of think about too is that the verticality here of where this layer is compared to the other ones might be worth keeping in mind. Like we heard hooting baboons. we got to think that there's some sort of like egress into Monkey Town somewhere above us, right? And the last thing I want to do is inadvertently wander into some wild part of Plunger Town that's not necessarily controlled by Trefco or without his eyes on it, and then end up in another baboon fight, you know?
I agree. I'll throw one more thought out while we're just workshopping these things. Let's say we find the exit. Let's say rather than finding the exit and then going back to check out the temple, we go get the rug from Gosterwick. We know fairly confidently we can do that. Okay. We now have, and before we take it from the Gosterwick vault, one of us goes through and grabs the other rug. Oh, you couldn't do that though. Shit.
No, you can't do that.
True.
No.
Well, we grabbed put it this way: we grabbed the rug so that if we're going through the tomb or whatever else, we have one of the rugs on us and we can loot that way. Mm-hmm. So if we find a bunch of riches in the tomb, it'd be really nice to have that rug with us, take the sash, rather than still have to go to Gosterwick, get the rug, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So there's more value and speed, I think, into going to Gosterwick and getting that rug and then using it for anything else we need that's in this cavern than to explore it and then go. But
I would agree that if we find the exit, but let's say we just stumble across it, like we were doing something else, we find it, then we execute the Gosterwick plan then and there because, absolutely having the rug is a good idea. No sense in delaying that if we know where the exit is.
I was thinking that putting that rug, like the one that we're going to keep as a stationary rug somewhere, excuse me, in our quarters in Goblin Town, the room that was, used by the knight, we could just throw a rug in there with some furniture. We don't have to make a big deal about it. And then, that could be our escape hatch. Doesn't necessarily have to be our stash, although it probably will fill up with treasure eventually. But I was just trying to think of like where we can go, that we can have that rug be like a stable area that we can retreat to.
Well, it's tricky. Like anything that we use regularly, if we use it regularly in a populated area, it's going to be suspicious.
I'm not saying to use it regularly because we also have teleportation circle tiles for Goblin Town. It almost feels to me like it's a safety net. Like one of the rugs should be in a place where it is secure and we can go to, at the drop of a hat, roll it up and then worry about getting the other rug back at some point, So,
yeah.
I'll say this about the exit. We know the north-south link was a football field, right? 120 yards, like 300 and some feet, we were told. Yeah. We already can see to the 320th point at these features. So the exit, or at least if the exit is on the southerly wall, it's right there.
Right.
So we're not talking about much further, guys. We've spanned 32 squares. It's 20 squares to the southerly dock. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 30. It's 30 squares to the question mark feature there. It's between 2 and 6 further to the other wall. If their intelligence is
flooding
correct.
through the cavern hole.
That?
Why is daylight not flooding through that? Like,
that's the thing I'm confused about is why we haven't seen light coming from it. So the exit has to be a stairwell or a door
or a zigzag
or a serpentine. Yeah, something that would occlude light is my guess. But if the intelligence we have is correct about the north-south and the exit is in fact on the south and not the southwest or something like that, then we are a negligible amount of time from seeing that wall at the top.
Chances
of the next
are,
session. Like I can see it from height. Basically, if we go 30 feet forward, I'd probably see the other wall at that point, right?
And whatever that tunnel is, that zigzag or stair, whatever it is, it's going to be really dangerous because of the design of this game, right? Like if somebody, if it's on the zigzag climbing up, it's so easy for the first level party to just like wander in there and get this glimpse of this place where you're not supposed to go quite just yet and be scared away by the giant. Because I mean, remember when like Sam, I think even she went through one of these caves and there were like sandworms or something that came up and ate all of her party, if I'm remembering that the right person. But like all of these caves, that there are going to be like something guarding each one of them on their way in.
Yeah. Can I make a suggestion? Actually, this is a demand. We need to maroon Mort on the island in the middle of Bagel Lake.
Yeah.
With a little coracle and a gold ring, and we just leave him there.